Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. Okay. This week we've heard a whole lot about AI. We've heard a whole lot about H-1Bs, all right? AI is going to have its place. It's going to displace people in jobs. All right, I get it. Foreign labor, you guys know my thoughts on H-1Bs. We should get rid of every single one of them, period. Not zero is the amount of H-1Bs that we should have. We don't need foreign workers in this country. We need Americans working. If an Indian IT guy wants to get a job, go get a job in India. There's the idea. We don't need you here. Your skills are substandard. The only reason you're here is because you're cheap. All right? That's it. I read an article this morning saying that job prospects in 2026 or for 2026 college grads are at a 5-year low because of employees or employers hiring foreign labor and using AI. Now, AI is just the next iteration of progress, I guess, if you will. Originally, Henry Ford was, oh my God, look what he did. He came up with the assembly line, right? That was, starting to automate things. Instead of guys building a car one by one, they were doing it on a line. Then we got robots coming in and starting to paint cars or put parts in or anything like that. And over time, technology does replace some jobs, okay? It's going to happen. We just understand it. I saw something about restaurants or coffee shops or something like that in New York City that are now hiring, was it Filipino, I think, cashiers in the Philippines, and they're on a little computer screen, and you talk to the person in the Philippines about your order 10 feet from you, okay? Why? Because they can pay them less. That's automation. That's gonna happen. People are going to figure out, companies are always going to figure out ways to cut costs and increase profits. That's capitalism. Sorry. It's no different than Joe Average out there. Everybody is bitching about, oh my God, everything's so expensive. And then at the same time, my pay isn't enough. Well, where do you think the companies get the money to raise your pay? Okay. They don't have a money tree out in the backyard. If wages go up, prices go up. It's pretty simple. And people don't understand. We need $30 an hour. Great. It's going to be $20 for a Big Mac. That's just the way it's going to be. Okay. You don't want to make McDonald's wages? Go get a different job. But the interesting part when I see that the job prospects for 2026 college grads hitting a 5-year low is interesting. And I've got a different take on it than a lot of people. It has a lot to do with the fact that 20 plus years in recruiting. Sure, there's plenty of blame to go for these colleges giving degrees to people who don't know anything, for these people getting degrees in African American studies or, Latin American dance. Okay. You go get that degree and the kids got to look ahead of time, and the parents are responsible here too. It's like, Junior, I understand you're interested in that, but what are your job prospects with it? What do you plan on doing with the rest of your life? The old, what do you want to do with your life comment, right? That sort of stuff. But Dad, I have $100,000 in student loans and I can't find a job. Well, okay, there's the first problem. But the second one is what the kids are bringing to the table. And I say kids, they're in their mid-20s, by the time they're graduating or whatever. And the reason, and I heard this constantly when I was a recruiter, either I heard it directly from the candidate or the candidate basically put their foot in their mouth with the hiring managers. Okay. The kids have no social skills. They have no ambition. They think everything is owed to them. I can't tell you how many times I called up somebody on the phone and said, hi, either I received your resume, they emailed it to me on a job application, job posting, or I found their resume on a job board and called them up and wanted to talk to them about a job. I can't tell you how many times I heard, can you text me the details? Can you email me the details? No, I have you on the phone. I'm going to talk to you about the details. I'm going to ask you questions. You applied for the job. You've already seen the details. I'm going to tell you the details about the job, and then you're going to be able to tell me if it sounds like something you're interested in. Can you text me the details? No. If you're interested in the job, we'll talk right now. If you're not interested in talking right now, have a nice day. We'll move on. Okay? Because it told me right away that the person has no communication skills and no social skills, which in pretty much every job are required. We talked about SNAP yesterday, and I was made the comment on how easy it was to file for unemployment. I'd always go look at potential applicants' social media to see what they were doing. And when I'd see somebody who was unemployed or who was trying to negotiate for higher wages than the company was offering, I'd go look at their social media and see the pictures of the vacation they just took, the concert they were just at. And I'm like, you have your priorities all messed up. Your money should be spending trying to find a job. Your time should be spent trying to find a job, not partying. Okay. How many of you know, and I've joked with you before, I remember PBJ doing this when she was in high school. She and a girlfriend of hers were sitting on the couch in my house, sitting right next to each other, texting each other. Okay, maybe if it's a comment or two because, hey, Dad's there and we don't want him to know. This went on for like half an hour. If you're going to have a conversation like that, go in the other room, okay? But that told me, again, about the conversational skills that at the time they had. And I confronted her on it. I'm like, do you know what that looks like from the outside? Do you know what you're teaching yourself? This is the thing. I agree everything's expensive. I agree it's hard to get ahead. I agree the job market is getting weak because we're seeing layoffs after layoffs after layoffs after layoffs. However, the whining needs to stop. Again, the same thing I said yesterday, a little less talk and a little more action. Stop whining about everything and adapt, shift, move, figure out something different. If you're dead set on working for, FedEx, and FedEx is laying off people, go apply at UPS. I mean, just as a ludicrous example, but yeah, the world doesn't revolve on, I've got to do one thing. Life is not linear. None of us, as everybody plans out their life between adulthood, turning 18, and 65 when you're hopefully going to retire, I guarantee for nobody it's been a straight line. It's been one of these, okay, that you've gone through. You've got to, as the Marines put it, adapt, overcome, It's just, it's tough. I get it. But look at yourself and go, why? If there's 10 people that are applying for a job, Why are you satisfied being number 6? You should be striving to be number 1 in everything in your life. It doesn't matter if you're the plumber, the cardiovascular surgeon, the attorney, the electrician, the librarian, whatever your career aspirations are. If you want to get the job, you've got to prove how you are a better candidate than all the other applicants. And demanding right off the get-go, text me the details. I need this much vacation. I need flexible work hours. Nope, nope, nope. The shredder gets a workout. The computer, DNH was a very common acronym. Do not hire. Okay, that was it. You think you get blackballed? Oh, you get blackballed by companies. You get blackballed by recruiters. There's plenty of them that I told you the story about a guy one time who was a potential client. He was a controller, running a plant for a company. And I'd call him up every once in a while and see if he needed any help, right? It's my job. I'm a recruiter. I'm trying to find job openings. And he'd get vulgar with me. What the F are you doing calling me? Yada, yada, yada. You're wasting my time, etc. Sorry. Okay. I just offering a service, wanted to see if you need help. Okay. And then one day, the phone rang, and it was him. And I was like, oh, surprise. Maybe he finally needs help. Hi, they laid me off. Can you help me find a job? No. The way you treated me when I called you, I have no interest in putting a person like that in another company. Those are the things that people don't think about. I feel for these kids who are going to have a tough time getting a job. I've got one that's going into the job market here come spring when she graduates. Okay. Fortunately, the field she's going into, there's more jobs than there are people, so I'm pretty confident she's going to find employment. Where, I have no idea, but fortunately for her, she's mobile. Let's put it that way. She's not tied down anywhere. But I've coached her quite a bit, and we've talked about more that we're going to be doing on how to set herself apart. Because while resumes could look great, it's still the person that the company is hiring. And if your hygiene is pathetic, if your communication skills suck, if you're arrogant, if you've got a chip on your shoulder in any matter, you need to hire me because I'm insert minority candidacy here. Okay. No, sorry, not going to hire you. You come out and say that flat out, you're DNH. Okay. Simply put, don't come in and tell me you need to hire me because you're black or you're Hispanic or you're Asian. Nope, sorry, you're done. Okay, that's it. If you've got that attitude has no business in any company I've ever worked in. The people need to polish on their people skills. Book smarts will only get you so far, but presentation, communication, and everything, all those sort of skills are what it's going to take to find a job in the 2020s. The kids need to start learning that. All those skills, all those things that you think is so cool that, you're texting everybody. Great. Companies don't want that. Your friends may enjoy it. Good. Keep it for after work hours. If you want a job, I hate to tell you this, you're going to have to play the game that the GenXers and the boomers and even some millennials are running, because they're the ones that decide whether or not you get hired, not the guy on the other side of your text. Have a good one. Pinball out.